So this is going to be a follow-up to my Joe Kent video. I'm going to cover some of the argumentative and intellectual fallacies being used in the situations. But before we begin, I want to make something abundantly clear. This video is not about defending Joe Kent, and it's not about attacking Joe Kent. This is about something bigger. This is about how we argue. This is about whether we're using logic or we're just picking sides. Because right now, I'm seeing a lot of argumentative intellectual fallacies being used on both sides. So today, we're going to break those down because there's a lot of nuance here. And that nuance is what's missing from a lot of these conversations. I'm a 20-year veteran of the military and spent majority of that time in special operations. And was also from the same Tier 1 Special Missions unit as Joe Kent and his wife. We actually worked a lot of the same target sets, especially involving Iran. And I spent majority of my career focused in Iran, Islamic Republic, the IRGC, and the Quds Force and its proxies. One of the biggest fallacies I'm seeing right now is the appeal to authority. People are saying because Joe is the director of the National Counterterrorism Center and he had access to all this intelligence, we should just believe him because he held that position. Some people are already arguing that his word carries automatically more weight than other people. But that's not how logic works, because here's the reality. You have also other similar authorities who disagree. For example, the director of the CIA came out shortly after Joe's resignation letter and actually stated that he disagreed and actually believed that Iran was a sufficient threat to attack. And he arguably has access to as much intelligence, if not more, than Joe Kent's position did. So now what? You have the former director of the National Terrorism Center saying one thing, and you have the director of the Central Intelligence Agency saying another. Who are you to believe? Both are credible, both are experienced, and both have access to high levels of intelligence. So which one is right? Because the answer is you don't rely solely on authority. Because when authorities disagree, credentials alone don't determine who is correct. This is why the appeal to authority is a logical fallacy. Because when you try to determine who is correct, you evaluate the reasoning, not the resume. Strength isn't built in comfort. It's built through repetition, through discipline, through showing up when it would be easier not to. For me, training has always been about pushing limits, becoming stronger, faster, and more capable every single day. But the gear you wear matters. Barbell apparel was built for athletes who move, who train, who refuse to compromise between performance and style. Clothes that move with you, built for strength, built for durability, and built for the grind. Whether it's the gym, the track, or the everyday mission, train hard, move freely, live disciplined. Barbell apparel. Use code StoicViking25 and step into the gear that's built for you, how you actually train. Another argument that I keep seeing is whether or not Iran is an imminent threat. But this is an argument of semantics. Who defines when something becomes imminent? When does a threat become imminent? And then if you make a distinction that you only deal with imminent threats, what happens when a threat becomes real? And if your argument is that we should only wait to deal with things that are imminent threats, the problem that you may run into is that it may be too late to actually take action to prevent this threat. Perfect example is Al-Qaeda in 2001. Many didn't view Al-Qaeda as an imminent threat in 2001, and then 9/11 happened. So focusing on whether something is a threat or an imminent threat is just simply semantics, and that's not a real argument or a strategy. Another argument I keep hearing, Israel wanted action, but we also had our own objectives. But remember, two things can be true at once. We've known that the Islamic Republic has been a problem for decades. And it's possible that we saw an opportunity that coincides with our nation's objectives. But that doesn't mean Israel controls us, but that's how alliances work. Another argument that I hear is that we have enough problems at home and we shouldn't worry about anything overseas. This creates a false dilemma. Our country has always tried to handle domestic and international challenges simultaneously. There's also a moral dimension to this. Islamic Republic has oppressed its people, killed its protesters, and engaged in repression for decades. And whether or not we choose to ignore that is not just a strategic decision, but it's a moral decision. Another argument is we shouldn't risk American lives. Many Americans, especially those who have served, would disagree with this. And since this conflict with Iran began, I've had hundreds of messages that people have reached out to me who are either former military, current military, or civilians, people who might possibly want to join, or just looking how they can do their part to help this cause. There's a lot of people who would be willing to risk their lives for other people throughout the world who are suffering injustices. And I know I'm one of those people. And I also understand there are a lot of Americans, especially the ones who served in the Jihad and other wars, who are reluctant to put their lives on the line. But I also think that it's a part of America's responsibility, because America not only has that power, I think we also have the moral obligation to help when we can. can, especially of the injustices that happen around the world. Remember, this isn't about Joe Kent. This is about analyzing things and thinking critically. This is about nuance, not jumping to conclusions. This is about waiting for the noise to die down and waiting for all the information to come out. Let the posturing and the propaganda fall to the wayside, because right now, too many people are just picking sides. And just trying to understand something, especially from the other side, doesn't mean you're agreeing with it. Because if we stop trying to understand each other, especially the people that have different viewpoints than us, that's when we stop thinking altogether. And that's when our real problems start. And that will truly lead to the downfall of our society and this great nation. If you're looking for that boost in the gym, both physically and cognitively, and you hate the taste of powdered creatines, it's by far the best tasting creatine gummies I've tried. And I know for a fact that they work because I've tried them, and they're one of the companies that third-party tests their product more than any other creatine gummy company out there. So visit Tasty Gains, and you can use my discount code Viking when you visit, and you'll find the link below in my description. Try them today. If you enjoyed this content, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Doing so really helps my channel. And if you want to support even further, consider becoming a member. And if you want to donate, you're more than welcome to. The link is in my bio, and I appreciate any support that you guys give, because it helps me to continue to do these type of long form videos with a level of analysis and critical thinking that I enjoy, and I know a lot of you guys have been really appreciative as of late.